Have you ever found yourself loading your shopping cart with items you didn't plan to buy? What triggers this impulse buying? We've all been there. You're standing in a store or scrolling through an online marketplace and suddenly you're drawn to an item. You didn't plan to buy it, it's not on your list, but there it is, calling your name. You reach out or click Add to Cart, and just like that, you've fallen into the snare of impulse buying. Impulse buying, as the name suggests, is a spontaneous, unplanned decision to buy a product, made just before the purchase. It's not inherently bad. Who doesn't enjoy a little treat now and then? But when it becomes a habit, it can lead to financial stress and clutter. So, what's happening in our brains when we give in to impulse buying? Well, it's all about dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. When you see something you want, your brain releases dopamine, giving you a rush of pleasure. The catch? That pleasure is short-lived, and soon, you're left wanting more, leading to a cycle of impulse buying. And it's not just our brain chemistry at work. Marketers and retailers are experts at triggering impulse buys. From strategically placing enticing items near the checkout to offering limited-time deals that create a sense of urgency, they know exactly how to tap into our desire for instant gratification. Impulse buying is a widespread phenomenon, affecting people of all ages and backgrounds. A survey by creditcards.com found that 5 out of 6 Americans make impulse purchases, and half of those buyers experience buyer's remorse afterward. So if you've ever felt that pang of regret after a spur-of-the-moment purchase, know that you're not alone. Impulse buying is a common, yet potentially damaging behavior. But don't worry, we're here to help you overcome it. Impulse buying might seem harmless at first, but it can lead to serious financial consequences. Let's delve into the potential negative outcomes of this habit. The most immediate impact is financial strain. Imagine those small purchases you make on a whim, adding up over time. It's like a leaky faucet, where every drop contributes to a flood. Then, there's the issue of clutter. We all have items around the house that we've bought impulsively, and now barely use. They take up space, both physically and mentally, creating an environment of disorder and stress. And let's not forget about buyer's remorse, that sinking feeling you get when you realize you've made an unnecessary purchase. It's a mix of guilt and regret that can dampen your mood and overall happiness. So it's clear that impulse buying isn't just a matter of dollars and cents. The impact of impulse buying extends beyond your wallet. It can also affect your overall well-being. To control impulse buying first, we need to understand what triggers it. Now this isn't some grand mystery. We all have our weak spots, those little things that make us itch to whip out our wallets. First off, emotional states often play a significant role in impulse buying. Maybe you've had a long, stressful day and you feel like you deserve a treat. Or perhaps you're feeling a little low and think a new pair of shoes might lift your spirits. It's a common scenario, but it's also a slippery slope. The temporary high of a new purchase can quickly fade, leaving you with a lighter wallet and the same old problems. Then we have the allure of sales and discounts. Who hasn't felt the rush of spotting a great deal? You see that 50% off tag and your heart skips a beat. But here's the thing. It's not a bargain if you didn't need it in the first place. Retailers often use sales to make us feel like we're getting a one-time deal, creating a sense of urgency that can lead to impulse purchases. And let's not forget about social pressure. In this age of social media where everyone's life seems picture perfect, it's easy to fall into the trap of keeping up with the Joneses. That new phone your friend just posted about on Instagram, that trendy outfit your favorite influencer is wearing, they can all trigger the desire to buy. So, how do you combat these triggers? Start by identifying them. Take a moment to reflect on your spending habits. When do you tend to overspend? What emotions, situations, or people seem to trigger your impulse buys? By raising your awareness of these triggers, you can begin to create strategies to manage them. Remember, this isn't about depriving yourself or living a life of austerity. It's about making mindful decisions that align with your financial goals and values rather than being led astray by fleeting impulses. Recognizing your triggers is the first step towards controlling your impulse buying habits. And with that understanding, you're well on your way to a healthier relationship with your finances. Now that we've identified the problem and its causes, let's explore some strategies to help you control impulse buying. First up, setting financial goals. This is a powerful strategy to curb impulse buying. When you have a clear financial objective in mind, be it saving for a vacation, a house, or retirement, it becomes easier to resist spontaneous purchases. Consider this. Every dollar spent on an impulse buy is $1 less towards achieving your goal. So, establish your financial goals and remind yourself of them whenever you're tempted to make an unplanned purchase. Next, let's talk about the difference between wants and needs. Needs are things you must have for survival, like food, shelter, and clothing. Wants, on the other hand, are things you'd like to have but don't necessarily need to live, like the latest smartphone, designer clothes, or an expensive coffee. Understanding this difference is key to controlling impulse buying. Before making a purchase, ask yourself, is this a want or a need? If it's a want, consider whether it's worth delaying your financial goals for. Now, let's move on to the strategy of delaying gratification. This is a powerful way to curb impulse buying. When you feel the urge to make an impulsive purchase, instead of giving in immediately, delay it. Tell yourself you'll think about it for a day, a week, or even a month. More often than not, you'll find that the urge to buy fades away with time. This strategy not only saves you money but also helps you make more thoughtful and deliberate purchasing decisions. Another effective strategy is to create a budget and stick to it. Look at your income and expenses and determine how much you can afford to spend on discretionary items each month. This budget acts as a spending limit, and it's a great tool to keep impulse buying in check. When you're about to make a purchase, check your budget first. If it's not in the budget, don't buy it. Lastly, consider using cash or debit instead of credit for everyday purchases. The physical act of handing over cash or seeing the money leave your bank account can make the cost of an impulse buy more tangible and deter you from overspending. Remember, changing your spending habits won't happen overnight. It requires patience and persistence. But by implementing these strategies, setting financial goals, differentiating between wants and needs, delaying gratification, budgeting, and using cash or debit, you can take significant strides towards curbing impulse buying. By implementing these strategies, you can take control of your spending habits and make more mindful purchasing decisions. Controlling impulse buying may seem challenging, but remember, every journey begins with a single step. As we wrap up our conversation, let's revisit the key highlights of our journey today. We started by discussing the tempting allure of impulse buying, a phenomenon characterized by instant gratification that often leads to long-term regret. It's the shiny new gadget that catches your eye, or the sale that seems too good to pass up. But as we've noted, these spur-of-the-moment purchases can add up, impacting not just our wallets but our overall well-being. We then moved on to understanding the impact of impulse buying. From financial stress to cluttered homes, the effects can be far-reaching. And let's not forget, it's not always about the money. The emotional toll can be just as significant, with feelings of guilt and regret often following a spree of unplanned purchases. Next, we delved into the importance of identifying your triggers. Is it the thrill of a sale, the comfort of retail therapy, or the social pressure to keep up with the latest trends? By knowing what drives your impulsive buying habits, you can start to develop strategies to combat them. And that brought us to our fourth point: strategies to overcome impulse buying. We've looked at several techniques, from setting clear financial goals, distinguishing between wants and needs, to mastering the art of delayed gratification. These tools, while simple, can be significantly effective when applied consistently. As we draw to a close, let's remember that change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time to rewire our habits and develop a healthier relationship with our finances. But with the right mindset and the tools we've discussed today, we can start to shift from impulsive buying to mindful spending. With patience and persistence, you can overcome impulse buying. Start today and take the first step towards a healthier financial future.